a parched plateau, yet its hidden veins of water sustain an entire continent. Both lands obey the same law: fire, drought, then rebirth. Here, weakness has no refuge, only raw survival endures. These are primal arenas where nature roars at its fiercest. In the heart of the unforgiving Kalahari, a new life begins already in the shadow of the most formidable predators. This elephant calf, merely hours old, is utterly defenseless in the face of such peril. But a mother's instinct is a phenomenal power, an unwavering shield. Single-handedly, she has bravely repelled a male lion, yet she knows the threat is far from over. To save her calf, she has but one option: to send out an urgent call for aid. These low-frequency rumbles can travel for miles across the landscape. These low-frequency rumbles can travel for miles across the landscape. But by now, the pair are surrounded. And then a response. The entire family heard her call and has come to their rescue. Faced with the might of the herd, the lions stand no chance. And now the herd joyfully welcomes its newest member, a safe beginning encircled by family. The Cerrado sprawls across nearly 770,000 square miles, covering over 21% of Brazil's territory. It crosses many states, such as Goiás, Mato Grosso, and Tocantins, even extending into parts of Bolivia and Paraguay. Though landlocked, this region is a vast natural reservoir, giving birth to 8 of Brazil's 12 largest rivers, including the Amazon and the São Francisco. The quiet presence of the Cerrado subtly orchestrates the underground currents that shape the surrounding ecosystems. Geologically, the Cerrado rests on an ancient plateau, the Planalto Central, formed over 600 million years ago. Its rugged terrain, sculpted from weathered granite and metamorphic rock, creates a landscape of rolling hills and arid plains. The soil here is a deep red, rich in aluminum but poor in nutrients and highly acidic. The Cerrado's landscape is a patchwork of diverse ecological shades. There are vast grasslands dotted with only a few low shrubs. Elsewhere, savanna blends with sparse woodland where trees have rounded crowns, thick bark and deep roots. These evolutionary traits help them withstand drought and the periodic wildfires. The Cerrado has a tropical, semi-humid climate with two distinct seasons. The wet season lasts from October to April, with an average annual rainfall of about 47 to 79 inches. In contrast, the dry season runs from May to September, with almost no rain. Daytime temperatures can exceed 86 degrees Fahrenheit before turning sharply cold at night. As many as 935 bird species have been recorded here. The Cerrado also shelters some 200 mammal species, over 270 reptiles and amphibians, and tens of thousands of insects. Like a distant dry drumbeat, the Cerrado enters its dry season with a spectacular yet silent transformation. From May to September, rainfall drops below 2 inches a month. Humidity falls under 30%, and daytime temperatures often exceed 95 degrees Fahrenheit. In these conditions, the ecosystem reveals its remarkable adaptations. Plants have thick bark, deep roots, and the ability to regenerate after fire. Wildlife develops distinct survival strategies. Still protected areas like Chapada dos Veaderos and Emas National Parks remain vital refuges for many species during the dry season. Located in central Brazil, Emas National Park covers 510 square miles of the Cerrado ecosystem. This area is mostly covered by low grasslands with very few shrubs. The soil is thin, highly acidic, and nutrient poor. The long dry season makes the region prone to wildfires. Yet these fires play a crucial ecological role, stimulating plant regeneration and helping to maintain balance. It is an ideal habitat for small grazers, burrowing animals, seed-eating birds, and their predators, creating a rich biological structure. Amid the searing heat of the Cerrado, one of the most remarkable creatures of this arid plain, the great rhea begins its challenging journey of survival. They are the largest native bird in the Americas and one of the biggest in the world. On this vast open stage, size and speed are the currency of survival. The greater rhea, South America's largest bird, is a master of both. When it runs, it doesn't merely flee. It devours the horizon, its powerful legs eating up the cracked earth at nearly 40 miles an hour. For most predators, it is a chase that is lost before it has even begun. Its long, powerful legs work in tandem with its wings, which act like rudders, helping it to keep its balance during sudden changes of direction. It is a perfect fusion of speed and strategy in an environment as harsh as the Cerrado. Not only fast runners, greater rheas are also skilled swimmers. They use their neck and wings to navigate through streams and shallow waters. In the severe aridity, this swimming ability helps them reach the few remaining water sources. Their three-toed feet, unlike the four toes of most other birds, are an evolutionary trait perfectly suited for swift movement over dry, uneven terrain. But what truly sets the greater rhea apart is not just its physical prowess. Unlike many other birds, it is the male that takes on the role of nesting. After building a ground nest, a male attracts up to 12 females to lay their eggs with a single nest holding as many as 50. When the females depart, the male stays to incubate the eggs for 35 to 40 days, and then continues to care for the young for 6 months. He not only defends them from predators, but has even been known to adopt stray chicks. Outside the breeding season, greater rheas live in flocks of 10 to 100 individuals. A flexible diet is a clear advantage for survival. As omnivores, they eat a variety of broad-leafed plants, grasses, seeds and fruits, as well as small animals. They also swallow small stones to help grind down tough plant fibers in their gizzards, much like chickens or African ostriches. During the dry season, when green vegetation becomes scarce, they shift towards protein-rich sources like insects or any remaining wild fruits. In its journey of survival, the greater rhea plays a vital role, dispersing seeds, maintaining species balance, and moving silently between the dry and wet seasons. In a place where the silence of fire can consume entire fields, the footfalls of the greater rhea echo like the drumbeat of resilience and instinct. Brazil's arid grasslands hold more than the tracks of the greater rhea. The Pampas deer, a small, delicate species, still moves quietly across the cracked red earth. Standing only about 2.3 feet tall and weighing between 44 and 66 pounds, the Pampas deer has a sandy brown coat that remains unchanged with the seasons, allowing it to blend almost perfectly into the sun-scorched grasslands. Males carry small, three-pronged antlers that are shed around August or September, while females sometimes have a unique whirl of hair on their foreheads, a rare biological trait among deer species. Despite their delicate appearance, they are true survivalists. When the vegetation withers, Pampas deer do not wait for fortune to favor them. They move constantly, carefully selecting new grasses and flowering herbaceous plants. In the wet season, grass makes up 20% of their diet. But when the dry season arrives, they switch to leaves, shoots, and even bark, anything that retains a little moisture. Instead of retreating into dense forests, this deer chooses to live in open savannas and tall grasslands. When threatened, it lies perfectly still, a silent prayer offered to the wild. If it must flee, it can reach speeds up to 31 miles per hour, though it often looks back a curious reflex born of instinct, but one that can also reveal a moment of vulnerability. The social life of the Pampas deer is highly flexible. In the dry season, they live alone or in pairs, but in the rainy months, they can gather in groups of up to 50. In Pampas National Park, an estimated population of 1,000 to 1,300 individuals has remained relatively stable over the past 2 decades. The Pampas deer is a living testament to resilience, humility, and quiet beauty. With its striking appearance, the maned wolf could easily be mistaken for a fearsome predator. With its fiery red coat, pointed face, and long stilt-like legs, the maned wolf is neither fox nor wolf. In fact, it is not a true carnivore and tends to lead a quiet, solitary life far from humans. It is the only species in the genus Chrysocyon, representing a unique evolutionary branch that has been separate for millions of years within the canid family. Standing up to 3 feet at the shoulder, taller than a grey wolf, the maned wolf is perfectly built for navigating the tall grasses of the Cerrado. Its large ears can pivot independently, allowing it to pinpoint the movements of small prey hidden in the dense vegetation. The maned wolf has a remarkably flexible diet. During the dry season, its diet shifts heavily to plant matter, especially the wolf's apple, a fruit that makes up 40 to 90% of its food intake. Rich in water and fiber, and with natural properties that help combat parasites, its habit of eating fruit and traveling far makes it an important seed disperser. As an opportunistic hunter, the maned wolf targets rodents, rabbits, ground-nesting birds, reptiles, and insects. With its acute hearing, it can tap the ground to flush out hidden prey, then pounce, delivering a quick bite to the neck or back. Although classified as near threatened, some regions like Minas Gerais and São Paulo have reported significant population declines. In captivity, birth rates are low, posing challenges for recovery programs. However, in Imus National Park, where individuals are tracked via GPS-maned wolves living in a near-pristine environment are showing stable behaviors. But this vast sanctuary of life holds its secrets close. And here, in the dappled light of the gallery forests where shadows dance with sunbeams, one of its most elusive masters of camouflage is revealed: the Ocelot. A living jewel once called the dwarf leopard. Their ancestors roamed the Americas for 2 million years, and over thousands of generations they have adapted to a multitude of environments. The ocelot has a body length of 2.3 to 3.3 feet, with a 10 to 16-inch tail and a coat of asymmetrical spots and stripes that act as a biological fingerprint. The white patches on the backs of its ears create a false eye effect, making predators hesitate to approach from behind. With its compact body, it moves easily through dense undergrowth and over fallen logs, a silent shadow in a wild world. As night falls, the ocelot begins its hunt. Though an expert climber and swimmer, it prefers to ambush its prey from the ground. With sharp hearing and vision, it hunts rodents, opossums, young armadillos, and even fish from shallow streams. Before eating, it meticulously plucks the fur or feathers from its prey, a habit rarely seen among other members of the cat family. Ocelots are solitary, except during the breeding season. Males control larger territories that overlap with those of several females, but they avoid direct confrontations. After an 80-day gestation, a female gives birth to 1 or 2 kittens in a secluded den, such as a tree-hollow dense thicket or a rocky crevice near a stream. The kittens are born blind and stay with their mother for nearly a year. When they are strong enough, she brings back live prey to help them practice their hunting skills. More than just a proud predator, the ocelot is a symbol of perfect adaptation. Each step it takes on the marshy ground of the veredas is a quiet whisper of life, resilient, silent, but never fragile. Six times larger than an ocelot, the jaguar is the biggest cat in the Americas. It is the apex predator, an icon of wild power. With its powerful build, a male jaguar can weigh up to 212 pounds and measure 5.5 feet long. Its compact muscular frame is combined with a broad head and short, immensely strong limbs. This anatomy gives it not only explosive strength but also the most powerful bite of any big cat, pound for pound, surpassing even lions and tigers. Its jaws are strong enough to pierce the skull of an adult capybara or crush the shell of an Amazonian turtle. In the dry season, when food grows scarce, this ability gives it a decisive edge, allowing access to a wider range of prey. In the fading light along a Cerrado riverbank, a jaguar flattens itself to the ground as silent as a ghost. Every muscle is tensed in stillness. The hunt has begun. Unlike its relatives, the jaguar delivers a precise bite to the back of the skull or spine, piercing through thick bone. If the prey escapes into the water, the jaguar will follow. It is a superb swimmer, capable of diving deep, and has even been observed using its tail to stir the water to lure fish. Though mainly terrestrial, it can climb trees and attack from above, a particularly effective tactic in the dry season when the view is clear. The jaguar's coat has large, bold rosettes with central black dots, creating patterns so unique that no two individuals are identical. Some carry a black pigment, the so-called black panthers, which still retain these rosette patterns visible in angled light or infrared photography. And here, the jaguar's very coat tells a story of deep time and adaptation. For in the Cerrado, the familiar gold is often replaced by a living darkness. An unusually high number are born cloaked in shadow. The black panther, not a different species but a ghost in the machine of evolution, a silent testament to the wild possibilities of this land. Biologically, the jaguar is a solitary animal. They rarely meet outside of the mating season. A male's territory can be twice the size of a female's, and often overlaps with those of several females, though rarely with other males. They tend to be most active at dawn and dusk. When the light is low, temperatures are cooler, and their prey begins to stir. In addition, jaguars have a unique range of vocalizations from a dry, saw-like roar to gentle snuffing sounds often used in close communication. Historically, jaguars ranged from the southwestern United States down to Argentina. However, they have vanished from many areas. Today, they survive in about 19 countries, with strong populations in the Amazon and Pantanal, but persist in lower densities in the Cerrado, a biodiverse transition zone. Protecting this species means more than its zoological value. In indigenous cultures from the Aztec to the Maya, the jaguar has always been a symbol of power, divinity, and immortality. In the Cerrado, the image of a jaguar crossing the water under the dry season moon has become a living emblem of balance. One of the jaguar's prey, the capybara, is the world's largest rodent. Curiously, in the 16th century, the Catholic Church classified the capybara as a fish, allowing the faithful to eat its meat during Lent. Today, this gentle creature even has its own day of celebration, Capybara Day, on the 10th of July, honoring it as a symbol of peace in the natural world. Measuring 3 to 4 feet long and weighing between 77 and 146 pounds, the capybara is more than twice the size of a beaver, the second largest rodent. Its coarse, yellowish-brown fur and stocky build conceal a body perfectly adapted to a semi-aquatic life. Its short legs are webbed and its eyes, ears and nostrils are set high on its head. A capybara can stay submerged for up to 5 minutes, either to evade predators or to cool off when temperatures soar above 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Despite its connection to water, the capybara is surprisingly agile on land, reaching speeds of up to 22 miles per hour when escaping danger. Their diet consists mainly of aquatic grasses, stems, and reeds, but when food is scarce, they turn to grains, squash, and wild melons. An adult can consume up to 8 pounds of vegetation per day. Their digestive system has an enlarged cecum filled with millions of cellulose-fermenting microorganisms. During the dry season, small groups of 10 to 20 capybaras often merge into herds of hundreds, led by a dominant male. Their social hierarchy is maintained through scent glands located on their noses and near their anus, as well as a rich repertoire of sounds. They frequently groom and delouse one another, not just for hygiene, but as a form of social bonding. Capybaras are widespread across South America from Colombia to Argentina. In the viredas, they do more than simply exist. They actively support the ecosystem, grazing selectively to promote the growth of aquatic plants and forming a crucial link in the food chain. Another large mammal appears, this time South America's largest land animal, the South American tapir. It is also known as the Brazilian tapir, the Amazonian tapir, or the lowland tapir. Between 6 and 8 feet long and weighing from 330 to over 700 pounds, the tapir is equipped with a flexible, trunk-like snout formed from its upper lip and nose. This proboscis allows it to pick fruit browse for leaves in thickets, or even act as a snorkel when submerged. In the oppressive heat of the dry season, its ability to stay underwater for several minutes and move along riverbeds helps it evade predators and regulate its body temperature. Despite its bulky frame, the tapir can move with surprising speed when threatened. This nocturnal creature follows stream banks to find leaves, young shoots, and aquatic plants. Known as the gardeners of the rainforest, they help regenerate plant life by dispersing seeds through their dung, especially throughout the viredas. Although its eyesight is poor, the Brazilian tapir has a highly developed sense of smell and hearing. It communicates and marks its territory using scent trails from its body urine and facial glands. Tapirs are solitary, meeting only during the breeding season. The female carries a single calf for a gestation period of up to 13 months. Newborns are covered in a dark coat with white stripes and spots, resembling a small watermelon, which provides natural camouflage in the forest understory. They stay with their mother for 12 to 18 months, learning to swim, dive, and survive. But this also means the population regenerates slowly and is especially vulnerable to rapid environmental change. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, the Brazilian tapir is currently listed as a vulnerable species. In the Cerrado, the conversion of forest land to soy plantations and cattle pastures over the last 20 years has led to a sharp decline in habitat in the viredas. However, in Grande Sertão Veredas National Park, the species still has a chance of survival. The park's network of underground streams, wetlands, and year-round green buriti vegetation provides a cool, moist refuge. In contrast to the tapir's somewhat smooth appearance, the Brazilian three-banded armadillo, or tatu bola, is one of only 2 armadillo species in the world that can roll itself into a completely sealed ball. This small creature's ingenious defense is so perfect, so complete, that it even once captured the imagination of the human world, becoming a symbol for the planet's greatest sporting spectacle. But here, far from the roar of the crowds, its perfect sphere is not for show. It is a shield for a fragile life in a world of giants. Only 9 to 11 inches long and weighing 2 to 3.5 pounds, the tattoo bowler's biological design is a masterpiece of evolution. Three flexible bands between its two hard shells allow it to curl up, using its short tail to seal off its soft underbelly, transforming into a seamless armored ball. The tattoo bowler feeds on ants and termites, using its long, sticky tongue and strong claws to break open termite mounds and ant nests. Though its eyesight is poor, its sense of smell is extremely acute, helping it to sniff out prey and steer clear of predators like jaguars and pumas. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, in 2024 only 1,000 to 1,800 mature individuals remain in the wild. The main threats include deforestation hunting and domestic dogs. With an extremely low birth rate, just one offspring per year, the Brazilian three-banded armadillo cannot replenish its population quickly enough. But for that very reason, it serves as a sensitive biological indicator, reflecting the overall health of the ecosystem. In the veredas where the soil is loose, shade is plentiful, and termite mounds are abundant, the area becomes a last refuge for this species during the dry season. Unlike the subterranean armadillo, the South American coati often climbs trees like a daring little explorer. Also known as the ring-tailed coati or brown-nosed coati, it is a close relative of the raccoon. About 33 to 44 inches long, with its tail accounting for nearly half that length, and weighing between 4 and 16 pounds, the coati is distinguished by its long, flexible and upturned snout. Its curved claws help it to dig, pry up roots, flip over rocks, and climb with ease. A unique ability is the rotation of its ankle joints, which allows it to descend trees headfirst, a trait rarely seen in mammals. The coati is active during the day. With its highly sensitive nose, it sweeps the ground like a living detector, searching for scorpions, insects, bird eggs, fallen fruit, and even carrion. Female coatis live in bands of 10 to 30 individuals, usually consisting of mothers and their offspring. Adult males live alone, joining a group only during the mating season before leaving again. Within the band, female coatis display strong cooperation. They care for the young stand guard and share information through sounds and body language. The breeding season begins at the end of the wet season, when fruit is most abundant. After a gestation of about 77 days, a female builds a nest in a tree and gives birth to 2 to 7 young. The offspring stay in the nest for about 5 weeks before rejoining the band. Females typically remain with their mother's group, while males leave around their 3rd year to begin a solitary life. As a highly adaptable omnivore, the coati helps control insect populations, disperse seeds, and plays a crucial role in maintaining the lower strata of the ecosystem. When the first rains fall on the Cerrado at the end of September, they mark the end of the long dry season and the beginning of a new cycle of life. The smell of damp earth fills the air, heralding the return of water and the start of the breeding season. This change triggers a cascade of ecological responses. Studies have shown that during the transition from the dry to the wet season, as much as 68.4% of all insects collected emerge. This ignites a chain of ecological events, from the growth of vegetation to the explosion of insect populations, and the start of reproductive activity for many animals. In the high canopy of the Cerrado's forests, it is not just insects that rush back to life. Creatures of vibrant color also begin their own journeys of survival. Among them is the Toco toucan, a bird of striking beauty with its bright orange tones and the bold contrast of its black and white feathers. As the largest toucan in South America, the Toco toucan embodies a strange and creative biological design. Its bill, which can be up to 7.5 inches long, may look heavy but is surprisingly light. Made of porous keratin tissue supported by a hollow bone structure, the bill plays a vital role in regulating body temperature. When temperatures rise, blood flow to the bill increases to release heat. Conversely, when night falls, blood is redirected to conserve warmth. This is one of the most efficient cooling systems ever recorded in birds, comparable to the heat-dissipating ability of an African elephant's ears. The arrival of the rains also signals the start of the breeding season. Fruit becomes plentiful, followed by a boom in insect populations, an essential source of nutrition for Toco toucans during nesting. Its diet is not limited to guavas or figs. During this time, it readily preys on insects, small lizards, and even the eggs and chicks of other birds. The Toco toucan does not build its own nest. It usually occupies old tree cavities, especially those of woodpeckers or natural hollows. The eggs are white, typically 2 to 4 in number, and are incubated by both parents in turns for about 2 weeks. When they hatch, the chicks are naked and featherless, and their iconic bills are still small and undeveloped. But day by day they grow under the devoted care of their parents, gradually becoming covered in a thick coat of feathers and developing that brilliant orange bill. With a total length of 22 to 26 inches, the Toco toucan is not a long-distance migrant. However, when food becomes scarce or certain areas dry out, it tends to move within a limited range in search of richer vegetation. This type of movement, known as ecological nomadism, allows the bird to make the most of short-term resources without leaving the Cerrado ecosystem. From a distance, a Toco toucan looks like a living exclamation mark against the reviving landscape. Beyond its role as a skillful fruit eater, the Toco toucan is a crucial link in the Cerrado's recovery after the dry season. By eating and dispersing seeds, it helps young trees take root in new areas. These birds can enhance the carbon storage capacity of tropical forests by up to 38% by carrying seeds to degraded lands. While many birds begin their breeding season, an explosion of insect life emerges, and that is when a strange predator takes the stage. The giant anteater, a creature that looks as if it has stepped out of prehistoric times. Slow, solitary, but perfectly adapted to the ever-changing world around it. At 6 to 7 feet long and weighing between 88 and 110 pounds, this is one of the largest insect-eating mammals in the world. What makes it remarkable is not sharp teeth or fierce claws, but a tongue that can extend up to 2 feet, flicking in and out 150 times a minute. The tongue is coated in a glue-like saliva to snatch some 140 insects in a single feeding. It does not rely on stomach acid for digestion. Instead, it uses the formic acid from its prey swallowing soil and sand to help grind up the insects. Its attack and retreat strategy allows termite mounds to recover, ensuring a long-term food supply, an intelligent predatory behavior that helps maintain ecological balance. The giant anteater is not just slow and steady. When needed, it can sprint up to 30 miles per hour. It stands on its hind legs and delivers powerful swipes with the long curved claws on its middle fingers for defense. Its peculiar knuckle-walking gait helps protect those claws. Despite poor eyesight and hearing its sense of smell, is about 40 times stronger than a human's, allowing it to detect insect nests from afar. This species is solitary pairing, only during the mating season. The young rides on its mother's back for nearly a year, camouflaged by a coat that blends perfectly with hers. As a specialized predator of ants and termites, the giant anteater acts as an ecological caretaker, helping to maintain the soil, control pest populations, and prevent invasive termite species. It moves silently through each wet season, holding an irreplaceable role in the ecological symphony of the Cerrado. Where termite mounds are torn apart by anteaters, or where colorful birds return to the canopy to nest another large creature, chooses a quieter path of survival. The boa constrictor, one of the great snakes of the Cerrado. It has no venom, but is armed with an incredibly efficient and calculated hunting strategy. The boa constrictor is one of the most ancient reptiles, having evolved and adapted over millions of years. Modern individuals typically reach 10 to 13 feet in length, with some females exceeding 14 feet and weighing up to 60 pounds. Its glossy scales with patterns of brown, maroon, and silver-gray stretch across its body like a natural camouflage map. A key feature is its cat-like vertical pupils, common in nocturnal species, and the small pits between its labial scales. These are specialized heat-sensing organs that allow the boa to see the body heat of its prey, even in complete darkness. As night falls and rodents begin to emerge from their nests to forage, the snake lies as still as a fallen log among the leaf litter, waiting silently. Its strategy is not pursuit but ambush. Once it has locked onto a target, usually rodents, opossums, small birds, or even large lizards, it strikes with astonishing speed. Hundreds of sharp, inwardly curved teeth grip the prey, followed by the powerful squeeze of its muscular coils. The victim does not die from broken bones, but from suffocation and blood loss, as its circulation is cut off. A 2024 study showed the pressure exerted by a boa constrictor can reach 90 millimeters of mercury, nearly equal to human blood pressure. After swallowing its prey, sometimes twice the size of its head, the boa retreats to a nest of leaves or a rocky crevice to digest. Its slow metabolism allows it to survive for weeks, even months, without another meal. The boa constrictor's range extends from northern Mexico to Argentina, but in the Cerrado it plays a critical role in regulating rodent populations. As the dry heat begins to fade, the Cerrado transitions into its wet season from October to March, bringing an abundance of water. The first rains fall on the cracked earth like a call to awaken the entire ecosystem. The increased moisture and temperature stimulate the germination, flowering, and fruiting of many plants, providing a rich food source for insects and other wildlife. This surge of moisture promotes the lush growth of gallery forests, evergreen woodlands that thrive along the headwaters of the San Francisco River. The park includes areas of outstanding scenic beauty, like the Cascadanta, the first waterfall of the San Francisco River, which stands 610 feet high. The gallery forests here also serve as crucial biological corridors. If the ocelot is nicknamed the dwarf leopard, then the Margay, a smaller wildcat, is often called the tree ocelot. For much of the wet season, it remains hidden in a labyrinth of leaves, where vines, dead branches, and moss weave together into a three-dimensional world. Measuring 27 to 31 inches long and weighing only 6 to 9 pounds, the Margay is the acrobat of the forest world. Its tail, which accounts for up to 70% of its body length, provides perfect balance as it moves along branches slick with rain. Remarkably, the Margay is one of the very few mammals capable of rotating its hind ankles 180 degrees, allowing it to climb down trees head first, more like a squirrel than a cat. It can leap up to 12 feet horizontally or 8 feet vertically between branches, and can even hang from a branch by just one hind foot. The Margay leads a solitary, mostly nocturnal life, marking its territory with scent. With a slow reproductive rate, giving birth to only a single kitten every 2 years, the Margay is highly vulnerable to sudden environmental changes. The rainy season in the forest provides an abundance of food. The Margay hunts birds, opossums, squirrels, small monkeys, and even sloths, all of which live in the treetops. An incredible hunting tactic recorded in Brazil showed a Margay mimicking the calls of a baby monkey, luring anxious adults close enough to be ambushed from above. Though arboreal, the Margay may descend to the ground to hunt rabbits or rodents, but this is a risky choice, as it leaves the cat more vulnerable. Among the watchful eyes that track its movements is the puma. Like a mystery written in many tongues, the puma has more names than any other animal in the wild. Cougar, mountain lion, catamount, panther. Over 40 nicknames, all for the same species. It is the most widespread terrestrial mammal in the Americas, ranging from the icy Yukon in Canada to the arid Andes of southern Peru. And right here in the heart of the continent, where the Cerrado unfolds and gallery forests cling to the San Francisco River, the puma finds a fleeting paradise during the wet season. During the rains, the gallery forests become rich and chaotic. Migratory birds return, ungulates forage, and rodents reproduce quickly. For the puma, this is an opportunity. It hides in the forest undergrowth, its golden eyes narrowed, watching as its prey moves slowly toward a clearing. No sound, no heavy breath, just lethal patience. Its long and powerful hind legs. In an instant, the puma launches itself nearly 18 feet into the air, soaring over 20 feet like a living arrow. Its tail, nearly 3 feet long, curves slightly to steer its body through the brush and jagged rocks. The attack lasts only seconds. Canines sink into the neck, claws lock on. The prey is pinned to the ground before it can react. The puma does not eat in a hurry. Instead, it drags the carcass to the forest edge, carefully covering it with dry leaves, moss, and branches, hiding it like a reserve. A single large kill can sustain it for 4 to 6 days, minimizing the risk of frequent hunting. Unlike the roaring tiger or lion, the puma communicates through a surprising range of sounds: hisses, growls, snarls, and sometimes a piercing scream. An adult puma in this region typically has a territory of 30 to 60 square miles. During the wet season, their movements shift to the south and southeast of the park, where populations of capybaras and armadillos increase significantly. As solitary animals, pumas usually interact only during the mating season. The female is pregnant for about 90 days and gives birth to 1 to 6 kittens. The dark spots along the kittens' backs help them blend into the forest floor. They stay with their mother for up to 2 years, learning every move of the hunt, how to choose prey, read the wind, and avoid other predators. In the food chain, the puma acts as a guardian of natural balance. By controlling herbivore populations, it helps the forest to regenerate and prevents overgrazing. A pattern confirmed by ecologists through satellite analysis of biomass cover during the 2025 wet season. In areas where pumas are regularly present, the understory and mid-story vegetation is significantly healthier than in regions without them. The Cerrado is no stranger to scavengers. Alongside the crested caracara, this land is home to a species as vividly colored as the Toco toucan, the king vulture. Unlike most vultures, with their drab gray feathers and somber appearance, the king vulture is an explosion of color. Its body looks like a natural palette, as if nature poured its last rebellious spirit onto this single bird. At the center of its curved orange and black beak is a fleshy caruncle or wattle, like a soft crown set upon the face of a silent king. Its pale white eyes are rimmed with deep red, glittering with an almost surreal gaze. A newly hatched chick is covered in pure black down and takes nearly 6 years to develop the brilliant plumage of adulthood. In Cerrado, where the gallery forests stretch out, the wet season brings more carcasses, more natural accidents, and with them the peak working season for the king vulture. Unlike birds of prey like hawks or eagles, the king vulture does not take life to survive. It waits, seeking opportunity in the quiet end of another creature's journey. With its large, strong beak, it is often one of the first species to open up thick-skinned carcasses. This bird lacks a rich vocal range due to the absence of a syrinx, the vocal organ present in most birds. Its sounds are limited to low hisses, weak wheezes, or gentle snorts. Instead of calling to one another, they rely on observation. With extremely sharp eyesight, a king vulture can spot a carcass from hundreds of feet in the air. In the humid conditions of the wet season, when scents travel more slowly, vision becomes its primary survival tool. Each dry season, its main breeding period, it lays a single egg, usually hidden in a tree hollow or a rotten log. The chick after hatching receives careful attention and a behavior that sets this species apart from other New World vultures. The parents return with partially digested food in their crop and gently regurgitate it for the young. It is a rare gesture, a clear sign of a long, deep parental investment. In the Cerrado ecosystem, the king vulture is more than just a link in the food chain. It is part of nature's self-cleaning, self-healing system. With a lifespan of up to 25 years in the wild and even over 30 in captivity, the king vulture is not only a biological symbol, but also a cultural one. In Mayan mythology, it was seen as a messenger between humans and the gods, known as Ok, the spirit of the sky and the cleanser of the world's impurities. Not as graceful as a stork, the wood stork makes a strong impression with its bare, almost sculpted-looking neck. It stands up to 45 inches tall with a wingspan of 71 inches. Its body is white with a featherless head and neck and a long crescent-shaped bill. This bird does not hunt by sight, but by touch. Standing in the water, it keeps its bill slightly ajar. At the slightest movement from a fish, shrimp, or tadpole, the bill snaps shut in just 25 milliseconds. If the water is too still, it gently stirs it with a foot or wing to flush out prey. During the 2025 wet season, its terrestrial foraging increased by 14%, including frogs, lizards, and rodents. This adaptability allows the wood stork to thrive in regions with dynamic hydrology like Cerrado, where it nests in colonies in tall trees near wetlands. Each colony can contain 20 to 25 nests, with parents taking turns incubating eggs and raising the young for about 8 weeks. When not foraging, the wood stork glides through the air, rarely flapping its wings, like a black and white ribbon riding the warm air currents. Without noise or fanfare, the wood stork exists through quiet precision, stepping through muddy waters, tending to its young under the sun, and soaring through storms like an ecological messenger. As the Cerrado moves deeper into the wet season, the strip of land along the Araguaia River, which marks the natural border between the states of Goiás and Tocantins, suddenly comes alive in a strange way. This area represents the seasonal wetlands and temporary lakes that form after the rains, lasting only a few weeks to a few months, yet holding the power to awaken an entire chain of life. The emergence of temporary lakes creates ideal breeding conditions for amphibians, free from the presence of predatory fish. Among the standout species is the giant otter, the largest otter on Earth. An adult male can be up to 6 feet long and weigh up to 75 pounds with a streamlined, torpedo-shaped body covered in a short, dense chocolate-brown fur that repels water. Its tail is flat, long and powerful, acting as a paddle. Its webbed feet allow for agile movement in murky waters. An often overlooked detail, each individual has a unique white patch on its throat, like a biological signature that helps researchers identify them in the wild. The wet season triggers a boom in fish populations like catfish and caracins, enriching the natural menu for the giant otter. With its highly sensitive whiskers, it can detect the slightest movement in the murky water. Its ears and nostrils can close when it dives, allowing it to focus entirely on tracking and catching prey. Unlike most other otter species, the giant otter is highly social. It lives in organized family groups, usually consisting of a monogamous breeding pair and offspring from multiple years. A group can have from 2 to 20 individuals. They hunt together, play together, and share the responsibility of raising the young. Their coordinated hunting efforts increase the overall success rate of the group. Each adult needs to consume about 7 pounds of fish per day, nearly 10% of its body weight. Fish are not the only item on their menu. When fish become scarce, giant otters also hunt crabs, snakes, and even small caimans. They choose to build their dens along high riverbanks or the edges of flooded forests. Each den can have multiple entrances, allowing the group to move quickly and safely if threatened. The Araguaia River area, especially within Cantao State Park, is considered one of the last places on Earth capable of supporting a naturally breeding population of giant otters. However, even this refuge is slowly being threatened. Competition with humans, especially local fishermen, has begun to strain the relationship between giant otters and neighboring communities. According to the latest report from the International Union for Conservation of Nature in 2024, the giant otter is still classified as endangered with an estimated wild population of under 5,000 individuals. Larger and more formidable than the giant otter, the yacaré caiman is native to Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, and Paraguay. The yacaré caiman's body is bulky enough to look heavy but never clumsy. Adult males are typically 6 to 10 feet long, while females are only about half that size. They have dark brown to olive-colored skin interspersed with black patches and a pale yellow belly. The long, slender snout is the result of millions of years of evolution perfectly shaped to maximize fish-catching efficiency. Their teeth are a biological marvel. 70 to 82 in total. They are constantly replaced, with the fourth tooth on the lower jaw always protruding even when the mouth is closed. In the complex system of temporary lakes, the yacaré caiman emerges as a silent predator. It does not lunge or chase, but lies still, almost motionless, beneath the floating vegetation. When unsuspecting prey comes too close, the snap is so fast there is no chance of escape. Adults typically eat fish, snakes, birds, and even small mammals. Beyond its predatory instincts, the yacaré caiman reveals a softer side in its reproduction. During the wet season, when the soil becomes moist and temperatures rise, the female begins to build a nest on top of mounds of mud and decaying vegetation, warm and gently steaming like natural incubators. She lays 22 to 35 eggs inside. The temperature inside the nest determines the sex of the young. Warmer conditions produce males, while cooler conditions produce females. The presence of the yacaré caiman is more than just a link in the food chain. They help regulate fish populations, especially piranhas, preventing sudden booms that could destabilize the balance. In their silent presence, in every sudden dive and glint of sharp teeth, lies an ancient story of life itself. Amid the shimmering riverside light, the roseate spoonbill appears. Its vibrant pink plumage and unique spoon-shaped bill make it look like a ribbon of color drifting across the still water. Its pink color comes from its diet, rich in the carotenoid pigment canthaxanthin, much like flamingos. During the breeding season, the color deepens, spreading to its legs and around its eyes, like a natural wedding dress worn by a wanderer in search of a mate. Standing 27 to 33 inches tall, with a wingspan of up to 51 inches, the spoonbill has long legs, a slender neck, and a broad, flat, spoon-shaped bill. Not for tearing flesh, but a precise sensory tool. As it sweeps its bill through the water, even the slightest touch from a fish, insect, or crustacean triggers an instant snap. Along the banks of the Araguaia River, the shallow lakes are ideal hunting and nesting grounds. They build their nests in dense bushes or low trees, laying 2 to 5 eggs per clutch with an incubation period of about 32 days. The chicks are fed by both parents, who regurgitate food directly into their still developing spoon-shaped bills. The spoonbill is not a long-distance migrant. It follows the water. Wherever there are wet season wetlands, their tracks are not far behind. Riding the warm air currents with their necks and legs outstretched, they glide like living kites across the sky. Once hunted nearly to extinction in the 19th century for their feathers used in hats and dresses, the roseate spoonbill has recovered thanks to strict conservation efforts. Today they are considered an indicator species, a sign of the health of the wetlands. Larger than the roseate spoonbill and the biggest stork in South America, the jabiru stork steps into the scene like an ancient guardian. It stands up to 5 feet tall with a wingspan of 9 to 12 feet adorned with white plumage, a featherless black head and neck, and a striking red throat pouch. This feature inspired its name Jabiru from the Tupi-Guarani language, meaning swollen neck. In males, the pouch can inflate and change color during the breeding season, a vivid, silent signal of readiness. Its slightly upturned bill, 14 inches long, is an incredibly precise hunting tool. Without needing to see its prey, the stork feels movement in the murky water and snaps its bill shut like a trapdoor. Besides fish, frogs, and snails, it also eats snakes, carrion, crustaceans, and even small mammals. In the Araguaia region, with its more than 800 oxbow lakes, jaguars often live in lifelong pairs. At the end of the wet season, they build enormous nests up to 100 feet high in dead trees, some over 3 feet wide and 6 feet deep, growing larger each year. The parents incubate 1 to 5 eggs and raise the young for over 100 days, much longer than most other storks, with the chicks being completely dependent on their care. In the Cerrado, it is an essential piece of the ecological puzzle, embodying the deep connection between water, land, and life. However, the vibrant and diverse life of the Cerrado is under daily threat. What is particularly alarming is that only about 8% of the Cerrado is strictly protected, compared to over 45% of the Amazon. As of 2024, more than half of the Cerrado's original vegetation has disappeared, replaced by soy fields, corn plantations, and large-scale cattle ranches. Climate change is also making the dry seasons more severe, leading to natural wildfires that are more frequent and longer lasting. In 2024, the area of forest burned in the Cerrado increased by 117% compared to the previous year, largely due to prolonged drought and the use of fire for agricultural clearing. Wildfires and deforestation have severely degraded the habitats of species, like the maned wolf giant anteater and jaguar. In response, the Brazilian government has launched fire prevention programs, including community education and improved fire monitoring systems. From August to November 2024, deforestation in the Cerrado decreased by 57.2% compared to the same period the previous year, thanks to more effective control measures. The Cerrado Restoration Fund was established with the goal of raising $150 million by 2025 and 2026 to protect over 106,000 acres of native vegetation and prevent at least 18 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions. Along the western edge of the Cerrado, ecological corridors are being restored so that wildlife can reconnect fragmented forest patches. In a landscape where 57.9% of the native vegetation lies on private land, cooperation is essential for survival. There is still time for the Cerrado if these efforts are continued, expanded and nurtured like the very seedlings that rise from the ashes. To return to their ancestral lands, for these young lions, the pull of their pride's territory is a force as fundamental as gravity itself. But the path that leads them is now as tenuous as a thread stretched across a new world fraught with peril. Unlike their mother, the cubs are inexperienced, yet to learn the caution needed around humans and their livestock. This journey upriver has brought them further than ever, just 5 miles from the nearest village where great trouble is brewing. Donkeys bred for their docile nature. They possess no instinct for predators, no innate urge to flee. For a hunter, restraint is a concept that does not exist. This hunt, lasting nearly an hour, could be the beginning of their end. It places the conservationists in an exceptionally difficult position. They are bound by their promise to inform the villagers of what has happened. The fate of the two young lions now rests with the community, a decision of immense consequence and gravity. These are two precious individuals born and raised in this very land, their existence of enormous value to the reserve. But then, a glimmer of hope. And here, on the fragile boundary between two worlds, an extraordinary act of grace unfolds. A recognition that the donkeys, having returned to a wilder existence, are also subject to the ancient laws of this land. And so an entire community chose coexistence over conflict, mercy over retribution. Spanning over 4,000 miles, a majestic river flows through the heart of Africa, bringing life to lands that would otherwise be barren. The Nile is more than just a river. It is the lifeblood of a continent, a bridge between the ancient past of grand civilizations and the vibrant pulse of wildlife today. At first glance, its calm surface mirrors the sky like glass. But beneath that surface lies another story entirely. A stage where the colossal forces of nature contend for space, for water, and for life itself. The murky waters of the Nile conceal a predator as ancient as the river itself. Motionless as a drifting log, only watchful eyes and discreet nostrils break the surface's calm. This is the Nile crocodile, a reptilian dynasty 20 feet long, weighing half a ton, with a lineage as old as the river. It is Africa's largest predator, and here it is king. Its strategy is patience. The crocodile can wait for hours, even days, using its natural camouflage to melt into the muddy banks. A young buffalo approaches, seeking water. Unsuspecting, the herd gathers at the water's edge, oblivious to the shadows lurking below. In an instant, the water erupts. The crocodile lunges with devastating force. Its immense jaws clamp shut with a force of up to 5,000 pounds per square inch. The prey is dragged into the deep, where the predator executes its infamous death roll. A young buffalo approaches, seeking water. In an instant, the water erupts. The crocodile lunges with devastating force. Its immense jaws clamp shut with a force of up to 5,000 pounds per square inch. The prey is dragged into the deep where the predator executes its infamous death roll. In Lake Victoria, one of the Nile's primary sources, these giants congregate in vast numbers with a large and healthy population inhabiting its waters. The shallow waters and dense vegetation here provide the perfect setting for an ambush. Yet the Nile crocodile is more than a mere predator. It is a guardian of the ecosystem. By consuming carcasses, they prevent the spread of bacteria and disease in the water. On land, they may seem clumsy, but in the water, they are incredibly agile, capable of reaching speeds of 22 miles per hour in short bursts. The circle of life is renewed when the female digs deep nests in high sandbanks to lay 25 to 80 eggs. For the next few months, she is a tireless guardian, repelling any threat with lightning-fast attacks. When the young hatch, the mother gently takes them in her enormous jaws and carries them to the water, ensuring their chance of survival in a world fraught with peril. Even in Sudan, where water is scarce and the heat is scorching, it remains a protector of balance, its presence quietly asserted along the banks of the great river. As the sun rises over the calm waters of the Nile, a colossal shape slowly emerges. A deep exhalation shatters the morning silence. It is the hippopotamus. Growing up to 13 feet long with large males weighing as much as 5,000 pounds, the hippopotamus is the true daytime ruler of the Nile. Despite its placid appearance, this animal possesses astonishing power and an unpredictable temperament. They are fiercely aggressive when defending their underwater territories. They live in groups of 10 to 30, led by a dominant bull, and spend most of the day submerged. Its thick skin secretes a strange reddish fluid, often called blood sweat. This is not a sign of injury, but a natural marvel, both a sunscreen and an antiseptic, perfectly suited for a life half spent under the African sun. As night falls, the hippos leave the safety of the water to graze on land. They can travel up to 6 miles, consuming around 80 pounds of grass each night. Though herbivores, their aggressive nature makes them one of Africa's most dangerous animals. On land, they can run at speeds of up to 19 miles per hour. In the Lake Tana region of Ethiopia, a population of around 400 has found a perfect refuge in the calm, shallow waters. After a gestation of about 8 months, the female typically gives birth to a single calf in the water. The newborn, weighing between 55 and 110 pounds, is already an adept swimmer. However, the hippopotamus also plays a vital role in the ecosystem. Its nutrient-rich dung fertilizes the water, sustaining the microorganisms at the base of the food chain. As dawn breaks, the herd slowly returns to the shallows. The seemingly tranquil surface of the Nile once again conceals the latent power of these giants. Across the green floodplains of the Nile, the heavy thud of hooves echoes. It is the tireless march of the African buffalo herd. These powerful grazers are symbols of strength and resilience, forming herds that can number in the hundreds, constantly moving in search of food and water. standing up to 5 feet at the shoulder and weighing between 1,100 and 2,200 pounds, the African buffalo is a true giant of the savannas. Their formidable horns fuse at the base, creating a solid shield used for defense and in dominance displays. Within this mobile fortress of horn and muscle, there is a clear strategy for survival. The strongest form a living shield at the front and along the flanks. And at the very heart of the herd, sheltered from a world of predators, are the young, the future of the lineage. Along the Nile, their routine is meticulous. The early morning hours are for grazing while the temperature is still mild. Each adult buffalo consumes about 33 to 40 pounds of grass a day, helping to control the overgrowth of riverside vegetation. During the peak heat, the herd seeks refuge near the river, submerging themselves to cool down and repel insects. But even in this moment of repose, danger lurks. Beneath the surface, Nile crocodiles lie in wait for an opportunity to strike. After a gestation of about 11 months, the female gives birth to a single calf. Within minutes, the newborn is on its feet, protected within the circle of the herd. As evening falls, the herd continues its journey. They are not just grazers of the plains, but natural engineers shaping the landscape. Along the tree-lined banks of the Nile, a sharp cry pierces the calm. It is the unmistakable call of the African fish eagle. With majestic wings and a piercing gaze, this regal bird rules the skies. Its white plumage stands in stark contrast to its dark wings and back. An adult can have a wingspan of up to 8 feet. Its vision is extraordinary, capable of spotting a glistening fish from over 300 feet above the water. Perched on a branch, the eagle waits. And then it sees its chance. The dive is instant, a feathered missile locked on its target. In a flash, two worlds collide, the air and the water. claws sharp as surgical steel strike with absolute precision. And with a powerful beat of its wings, the eagle reclaims the sky, its prize firmly in its grasp. This ability makes the African fish eagle one of the region's most efficient hunters. Its diet consists almost exclusively of fish. Pairs are monogamous and return to the same nest each year, reinforcing it with branches and leaves. These nests can grow to be over 6 feet wide. Both parents take turns raising their young, feeding them small pieces of fish until they are old enough to hunt for themselves. By preying on sick or slower fish, it helps to maintain a healthy and balanced aquatic population. As the sun sets, the scene repeats. Under its watchful eye, the Nile remains a lifeline where every creature is interconnected. In the still waters along the Nile's channels, a slender silhouette appears. Only its long neck and head are visible, reminiscent of a snake's movement. This is the African darter, a master of diving and concealment. Growing up to 37 inches long, it stands out not for its power but for its agility. Unlike many water birds, its plumage is not completely waterproof. This allows it to dive deeper, but it also requires it to dry its wings in the sun after each hunt. Underwater, the darter is a swift and ruthless predator. It glides silently behind small fish frogs and crustaceans. When the prey is in range, its long pointed bill strikes. A lightning-fast thrust impales the fish, which is then brought to the surface and tossed into the air to be swallowed. In the Lake Tana area, its population is quite stable, estimated at between 800 and 1,000 individuals. The shallow waters and rich vegetation provide a safe haven and an abundant food source. By controlling the populations of small fish and invertebrates, it helps maintain the balance of underwater ecosystems. As the sun sets, the sight of dozens of African darters with wings outstretched on dry branches creates an almost mystical scene. The dry heat envelops the banks of the Nile as a solemn figure traverses the plains with slow, deliberate steps. It is the marabou stork, one of the continent's largest birds. Standing nearly 5 feet tall with a wingspan that can reach over 10 feet, the marabou is distinguished by its unique appearance. Its head and neck are nearly featherless, revealing wrinkled, pinkish skin. This feature is essential for a scavenger, helping it stay clean while feeding. The large red pouch hanging from its throat serves multiple functions, from regulating body temperature to communicating during mating rituals. As nature's cleanup crew, the marabou stork plays a vital role. It feeds on animal carcasses, helping to keep the landscape clean and reducing the risk of disease. Its digestive system is so efficient that it can process bone and sinew, extracting nutrients from parts few other species can utilize. But the marabou does not live on carrion alone. When the opportunity arises, it also actively hunts fish frogs and even small rodents. In the Sud wetlands, one of the Nile's largest marshes, hundreds of marabou storks gather to nest during the dry season. Though its appearance is often described as macabre, the marabou stork is a crucial link in the Nile's ecological web. As dusk falls, their massive silhouettes stand out against the fiery sky, silent sentinels watching over the unending cycle of life and death. On the grassy banks and wetlands along the Nile, a reddish-brown figure emerges. It is the waterbuck, one of Africa's most robust antelopes. It is known for its elegance and a distinctive white ring around its rump, a mark that seems painted by nature itself. Standing between 45 and 55 inches tall and weighing from 400 to 660 pounds, the waterbuck is a herbivore dependent on nearby water sources for survival. Its thick, oily coat plays a crucial role, not only protecting it from parasites but also providing a waterproof barrier. The males possess long, slightly spiraled horns that can grow up to 40 inches. These are natural weapons used in confrontations over territory and mates. An adult consumes an average of 15 pounds of fresh grass daily, preventing overgrowth and maintaining natural pathways for other species. Life on the Nile is far from peaceful. Faced with a threat from a lion or crocodile, the waterbuck resorts to its most effective strategy, diving into the water. With strong legs and broad hooves, it is an excellent swimmer capable of eluding predators in rivers and swamps. After a gestation of about 8 months, a single calf is born and hidden in tall vegetation for its first few days to avoid attack. As we drift downstream, a majestic shadow passes over the Sud wetlands. It is the shoebill, a reminder that every stretch of the Nile nurtures its own unique inhabitants. The Nile continues its majestic flow, connecting lives and ecosystems in an eternal dance of water, earth, and air. At every bend in the river, stories of strength, adaptation, and survival intertwine, reminding us that this is not just a river. It is the lifeblood of millions of beings. From the deep waters where crocodiles reign to the banks where hippos rest and eagles guard the skies, the Nile reveals a delicate balance between power and vulnerability. The Nile continues to flow indifferent to the private dramas unfolding along its banks. This is a world without good or evil, only hunger and survival. Here, life and death are not opposites, but partners, in an eternal dance, a cycle that has shaped this land for millennia. and will continue to do so long after we are gone. There is a place on our planet where the land reaches for the heavens. A kingdom of rock and ice so high that it lives by its own rules. This is Chomolungma, the mother goddess of the universe, known to us as Everest. Here, altitude is not a number, but a threat to survival. Winter is not a season, but a permanent state of being. The cold is the true ruler of life on this sleeping giant. Yet, in this seemingly lifeless place where altitude and freezing temperatures should preclude all existence, nature asserts itself. Amidst the most unforgiving conditions, wild animals reveal their purest, most indomitable spirit, staring death in the face in order to live. Against the fiercest blizzards, the yak stands firm, a bulwark against the eternal winter. The tiny pika takes refuge underground to escape the brutal weather, surviving in relative comfort against the plunging temperatures. Meanwhile, the red panda uses its bushy tail as a blanket, warding off hypothermia during the freezing nights. Each species has its own strategy to avoid extinction in this white world where altitude is the enemy of life. The Himalayan black bear, a colossal beast, forages among the stunted vegetation. A few insects or fresh berries are a feast in this ascetic world. And the musk deer nibbles tirelessly at the last patches of moss in a desperate effort to stave off starvation. The baral or blue sheep graze on sheer slopes thousands of feet high where only they can reach the finest pastures. But the brutal weather and the scarcity of food are not the only challenges. When predators stalk the landscape, the freezing conditions become a secondary threat to the danger of falling into the claws of those that rule the food chain. Hidden among the time-frozen slopes, the ghost of the mountains, a cold and calculating cat fixes its gaze on its next meal. When the snow leopard strikes, its prey has almost no chance. One pounce, one slash, and it is over. On these same treacherous lands, where the smallest spark of life is a miracle, wolf packs dominate. A deep howl echoes through the mountains, and the pack is ready to sow terror. Thousands of feet high, the lammergeier, a master of the Himalayan skies, watches intently for a fresh carcass. In seconds, this clever vulture carries the remains into the air, only to drop them from a dizzying height. Such is the way of wildlife on Everest. Harsh, fragile, yet utterly mesmerizing. Rising from the spine of the world on the border of Nepal and China, It pierces the sky at an altitude of 29,029 feet. But this is not merely a number. It is a threshold, a frontier between life as we know it, and a world where existence itself is an act of defiance. Part of a geological massif where peaks like Lhotse and Nuptse also soar above 26,000 feet, Everest is more than just a mountain. It is an entire ecosystem where flora and fauna have adapted to the most extreme conditions imaginable. At lower altitudes, around 13,000 feet, dense coniferous forests of pine and fir dominate the landscape. Here the vegetation is richer, and in the warmer months, shrubs, grasses, and wildflowers flourish. Ascending a few thousand feet higher, the trees vanish, giving way to sparse clumps of grass, moss, and lichen clinging to the rocks. Beyond 20,000 feet, vegetation all but disappears. Save for a few hardy lichens, no plant life can survive. Like the vegetation, the temperature is a true reflection of Everest's altitude. While the lowlands can register pleasant temperatures of around 77 degrees Fahrenheit in summer, above 20,000 feet extreme cold is the norm, a perpetual winter where the temperature is always below freezing. The summit, one of the most hostile places on the planet, is punished by a biting cold with temperatures that can plummet to 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Here, hurricane-force winds of over 186 miles per hour turn this corner of the world into a frozen hell. Although the summit of Everest at over 5 miles high is a lifeless realm just 13,000 feet below, the story is entirely different. At these levels, against all odds, wildlife thrives, with blue sheep navigating the rocks, deer grazing on the scarce new shoots, and marmots emerging from their burrows. However, in an instant, this scene of peace and supreme effort for survival can be shattered by an act that is wild, cruel, and raw. With an icy gaze and the biting wind ruffling its thick fur, the alpha male lets out a howl that splits the air, gathering the pack for an unstoppable hunt. Instantly obeying their leader's call, the pack assembles. Weighing up to 100 pounds and armed with powerful jaws that can crush bones, surviving an attack from a single wolf is a feat in itself. When an entire pack of these formidable hunters works in concert, escape is virtually impossible. Not even the cold of Everest can temper their ferocity when hunger gnaws. With its robust build, the Himalayan wolf is perfectly adapted to live in an ecosystem ravaged by sub-zero temperatures. Its thick, woolly coat with a dense underlayer provides enviable insulation, keeping it warm even on the coldest of days. Strong, muscular legs with well-padded paws are ideal for moving across the snowy and rocky terrain, so common in its Everest home. Whether in the high-altitude forests of the lowlands or on the treacherous mountain slopes, these packs dominate the food chain, striking fear into species like the bharal, Himalayan tahr, deer, picas, and even the majestic yak. The faintest track or a whisper of scent is enough for the alpha to give the order, launching the pack into a new hunt. Thanks to their highly developed sense of smell, they can detect the trail of a hoofed animal from several miles away. Superb vision and hearing are also part of their innate skill set. With a pack of up to 8 members, only a large kill can satisfy the hunger of these voracious predators. In a habitat as demanding as Everest, wolves always prioritize an efficient hunt. Once the prey has been located, the pack advances with a steady pace towards its future victim. Through howls, head movements, and body posture, the alpha communicates a complex hunting strategy. With the prey in sight, the pack relies on its unparalleled stealth to approach the deer with the utmost caution. Their coats of white, brown, and grey provide astonishing camouflage. Because a failed hunt can threaten the survival of the entire pack, the alpha plans every move. When every wolf is in position, it gives the signal and they launch their assault on the unsuspecting animal. The deer bolts, but the wolf's strategy is based not on a surprise attack, but on a prolonged chase. Every member of the pack participates, closing off escape routes. Cornered, the wolves pursue the animal relentlessly. After an exhausting chase, the deer's legs begin to fail. Caught between the treacherous terrain and a pack of hungry carnivores, the inevitable happens. Panic gives way to exhaustion. One final, desperate stumble, and the chase is over. For the deer, a life is extinguished. For the pack, another precious day is won. In this frozen kingdom, one life must end, so that another may continue. Having brought down such large prey, the pack begins to feed. At these feasts, there is a strict hierarchy in which the dominant pair eats first. After consuming most of the carcass, leaving only a few bones, the pack seeks a sheltered place to rest. In their habitat, blizzards with powerful winds and freezing temperatures are a daily reality. When they are not hunting, they take the time to rest and take shelter. Caves, rock ledges, and even crude dens are ideal for a well-deserved sleep. During this downtime, the pack strengthens its social bonds through interactions like play and mock fights, creating a harmonious environment that ensures the pack's cohesion. Although each wolf is a formidable beast, the secret to its survival lies in pack life. Living in large, well-organized packs allows them to hunt prey much larger than themselves. Among them is a colossal bovid weighing up to a ton that has adapted to life at over 20,000 feet. For the giant, yak altitude is just a number. With its extraordinarily long coat, the yak possesses what is perhaps the finest natural protection on the entire mountain for surviving sub-zero temperatures. Its high humped shoulders, along with very long curved horns that can measure over 3 feet in both males and females, make it an unmistakable species. The rocky slopes and snow-covered areas that other species would find barren are a welcoming habitat for this master of survival. Thanks to its very dense coat and a thick layer of subcutaneous fat, the yak can withstand the full rigor of the Everest winter. Even when the thermometer drops to 40 Fahrenheit and storm winds howl, this bovid remains unfazed by the hostile conditions. Just as it is adapted to the extreme climate, finding food on these steep lands is a challenge for others, but the yak finds a banquet. As a herbivore specializing in high-altitude vegetation, alpine grasses, mosses, dwarf shrubs and sedges are on its low-nutrient menu. This poor quality of food, coupled with its enormous size, means the yak must spend up to 12 hours a day grazing. Wandering slowly through the vast alpine meadows, this hoofed giant carefully scans the ground, alert for any sign of something edible. To locate its limited food sources, it uses its very keen sense of smell, which can detect the scent of grass from hundreds of feet away. Even when food lies buried under a thick layer of snow, the yak does not hesitate to use its hooves and its great head to unearth what it considers a delicacy. Although this giant's high-fiber diet is of rather low nutritional value thanks to a highly developed digestive system, it can make the most of every mouthful. As a ruminant, after its long grazing sessions, it spends hours re-chewing its partially digested food, ensuring that not a single nutrient is wasted. As its food requirements are substantial, after grazing in an area for some time, resources are often quickly depleted, forcing it to seek new horizons. Contrary to their formidable appearance, both males and females are highly social. Females and their young can even form large herds of up to several hundred individuals. The males, meanwhile, are more versatile, capable of living a completely solitary life or in small groups. These groups are crucial when the mating season begins. Within these herds, competition for dominance is constant, like a rehearsal for the breeding season. Size and physical strength are everything. The largest and most muscular yak is usually the dominant one. Of course, this authority is frequently challenged by younger males eager for power. Intense ritual battles ensue. Though they rarely end in death, they involve powerful headbutts and displays of strength. Survival on Everest is not always a game of size and power. High on the craggy slopes in the shadow of giants lives a creature that has mastered a different strategy to be small, swift, and almost invisible. Weighing around 5 ounces and no more than 8 inches long, these small mammals are among the most surprising life forms adapted to the challenging altitudes of Everest. Like the giant yak, this rodent also has a very warm coat, which keeps it insulated even when Everest shows its harshest side. To complement its adaptation to the extreme cold, this resourceful survivor usually lives in comfortable burrows among rock crevices or in cozy tunnels where it can shelter from the sub-zero temperatures. While at night it curls up in its rudimentary shelter, the day is for venturing out in search of food. As it does not hibernate, the pika cannot afford to fall into a deep slumber when its habitat is blanketed in white. It needs food all year round. This is why when the relatively warm summer days arrive, when the thermometer can even reach 68°F, the clever pika takes the opportunity to stockpile food for the winter. Foraging tirelessly on the ground, it finds alpine grasses, sedges, mosses, lichens, and with luck, wildflowers. Thanks to its intimate knowledge of its territory, this small creature can optimize its foraging time, using its powerful incisors to cut even the finest blades of grass with ease. In addition to its strategy of storing food in piles known as hay piles, the pika, of course, cannot resist consuming a good amount of the plant-based treats it finds. This high intake of food allows it to build up significant fat reserves, which can be a lifesaver when food is scarce. Of course, the pika can never completely relax, as it never knows when a fierce predator is lurking, looking to make it its prey. Golden eagles, owls, red foxes, and even wolves see the small pika as a tasty and easy meal. To escape death, the pika is constantly alert to its surroundings, attentive to the slightest movement that seems suspicious. Its first line of defense is its advanced camouflage. A grayish-brown coat helps it blend in perfectly with the rocky environment. When directly threatened, the pika does not hesitate to make a swift escape to the safety of its burrow. With its astonishing agility, it can leave its pursuers behind in a matter of seconds. Often, when a pika spots a predator lurking nearby, it immediately emits a distinctive whistle to alert neighboring pikas. Although they are not particularly social, their alarm calls are a very effective collective defense method. Upon hearing this particular call, the predator knows it has lost the element of surprise, so it often decides to abandon the attack. This territorial behavior is nothing more than a survival measure that ensures exclusive access to foraging areas, as well as avoiding unwanted visits to its burrow. Just as the tiny pika battles the inclemency of the weather, thousands of feet below the mountain's foot in the temperate forests, a placid mammal moves through the dense vegetation. The red panda emerges as one of the incredible creatures that defies the odds to survive in such a demanding habitat. With its thick reddish-brown coat, the red panda has little in common with its giant black and white namesake from Asia. A long bushy tail with alternating rings of red and dark brown is one of its most distinctive features. In addition to its dense fur, this mammal often uses its tail as a scarf. The mountain slopes with their dense forests are the ideal setting for the red panda's arboreal lifestyle. Thanks to its short, strong legs with sharp, semi-retractable claws, it is an expert climber. To maintain its balance during its acrobatics in the trees, its long tail acts as an excellent counterweight. This life in the trees helps it stay out of sight of most predators. Since a small, gentle mammal weighing no more than 13 pounds does not inspire much fear, the red panda must rely on its stealth to evade the many carnivores that see it as simple prey. Cunning predators like the snow leopard, the clouded leopard, or even fierce birds of prey may target this gentle mammal. To evade them, the red panda stakes its survival on its ability to remain hidden. Its reddish coat camouflages it perfectly against tree trunks covered in moss and lichen. By remaining motionless and curled up, the red panda can go completely unnoticed out of sight of its predators. Although its first response to a bloodthirsty predator is always to hide when cornered, it can set aside its gentle nature and become aggressive to save its life. When a snow leopard or a golden eagle poses a direct threat, the red panda summons its courage standing on its hind legs to appear larger and more intimidating. Although this may seem like a desperate measure, it can sometimes yield surprising results, deterring predators from attacking. After avoiding becoming part of a ruthless carnivore's diet, the red panda now prepares to satisfy its own hunger. Although classified as a carnivore with a digestive system perfectly adapted for eating meat, this mammal has opted for a predominantly plant-based diet. It has a special fondness for tender young bamboo shoots, which make up the bulk of its diet, even though digesting these stalks and leaves can be somewhat difficult. The lack of competition for this food source ensures it has an almost inexhaustible supply. Of course, when its habitat becomes unusually generous with fruits, berries, and acorns appearing everywhere, this adaptable survivor does not hesitate to feed on these delicacies. When a variety of foods such as roots, eggs, insects, and even small vertebrates are available, the red panda reveals its omnivorous nature. This ability to adapt its diet to the fluctuating resources of its habitat is one of the keys to its survival. main food source is tender, bamboo shoots, the red panda can spend up to 13 hours a day foraging. During this marathon search, it consumes up to 9 pounds of bamboo. Thanks to a false thumb, the red panda can manipulate the bamboo stalks at will, focusing its bite on the most nutritious parts of the shoots. When it is not busy foraging, it may be found curled up on a comfortable branch, wrapping its tail around itself to conserve body heat. The Himalayan black bear, a giant weighing up to 440 pounds, is another species that makes the harsh ecosystem of Everest its cozy home. Although it lives far from the summit at altitudes not exceeding 13,000 feet, this mammal's existence at such heights is a challenge to nature. Its black, very thick and woolly coat is ideal for staying warm in an environment where sub-zero temperatures are commonplace. On its chest, it has a distinctive V-shaped patch of creamy white fur. Except during the breeding season, the black bear usually leads a solitary life in the forest with no other company than the dense trees. This mammal exhibits both terrestrial and arboreal behavior, not hesitating to climb when necessary, whether to rest or to escape from predators. Thanks to claws up to 2 inches long and muscular legs, no tree in this vast forest can resist its climbing skills. At the same time, these versatile tools allow it to dig in the earth with impressive skill, finding all sorts of delicacies in the form of roots, tubers, and fresh insects. But the diet of the giant Himalayan black bear is not limited to these snacks. Fruits, berries, acorns, young leaves, honey rodents, birds, and even musk deer can fall prey to it. The black bear is a perfect example of an omnivore simply eating whatever crosses its path. During its forays through the forest, it digs in the earth, turns over rocks, and even strips the bark from trees to find insects, fruits, or anything that can fill its stomach. During this search for food, its keen sense of smell plays a crucial role detecting even the most subtle aromas. When its habitat experiences the warmest seasons of the year, the black bear makes the most of it to satisfy its hunger, consuming up to 33 pounds of food per day. In contrast to the small pika, which does not hibernate, the black bear opts to fall into a deep sleep rather than endure the hardships of winter. Therefore, during the summer days, it is almost exclusively focused on accumulating a thick enough layer of fat to get through the lean months. As the calendar advances and winter approaches, the bear intensifies its search for food, exploring new areas and alternating this vital task with well-deserved naps. With winter steadily claiming what was once a cozy home, it prepares its den to endure a long sub-zero season. Here, its good digging skills are even more useful than for finding food. It can create cozy shelters to protect itself from low temperatures and relentless blizzards. Once hidden in its comfortable shelter, the black bear gradually slows its metabolism until it falls into a deep sleep. From which it will awaken several months later when winter begins to relent and spring arrives. While the Himalayan black bear is deep in hibernation on the border of the alpine forest and the rocky slopes, a distinctive deer desperately searches for the slightest trace of food. Weighing up to 40 pounds and measuring about 3 feet long, the musk deer is one of the brave, hoofed animals that survives the extreme conditions of Everest. The musk deer is different from other true deer. Its thick, coarse brown coat, often with lighter spots on the neck and throat, provides excellent camouflage. Its hind legs are considerably longer and more muscular than its front legs, giving it a hunched appearance, as well as providing it with unparalleled agility for moving through rocky terrain. In contrast to true deer, this particular species has no antlers, but instead 2 long upper canines that protrude from its mouth, which can reach up to 4 inches in length. Its long canines serve a similar function to antlers in species like the moose, that is, as weapons when competing for the right to mate with a female. While most wildlife sees the harsh winter as a time for survival rather than for living, the musk deer finds it the perfect time of year to expand its family, beginning its mating season. As a male's territory often overlaps with the habitats of several females, the key to securing mating rights is to defend the territory from intruding males. As soon as a male detects an intrusion into his territory, he quickly goes to the border to confront the intruder. Before a fight, they adopt threatening postures. As the days go by, the females gradually come into heat, and it is they who will decide with which male to mate. Usually, the quality and size of the territory, as well as the deer's physical strength, will greatly influence the female's choice. After mating, the fertilized female will leave, while the male remains in his territory, awaiting other females. In a single breeding season, one deer can mate with dozens of females. It will be about 6 months later when the miracle of life is complete, and a fawn will open its eyes for the first time to the harshness of Everest. After an exhausting mating season, the musk deer sets about satisfying its not-so-selective appetite, feeding mainly on grasses, mosses, and lichens. And speaking of the fierce predators of these hoofed animals, amidst the dense vegetation of the alpine forests, the elusive figure of a small but very cunning carnivore emerges. Although weighing no more than 30 pounds and measuring about 3 feet long, the red fox is no threat to an adult musk deer. But the small fawns are not so lucky. They are one of the favorite prey of these stealthy predators. Moving cautiously through the forest, it approaches the innocent young with unparalleled silence. The fawn has no suspicion that it is in its final moments of life. With a pounce, the wild fox appears and then disappears, but this time with a small musk deer in its mouth. Although with its advanced hunting skills, the red fox may seem the perfect prototype of a relentless carnivore, in reality, it is not limited to a meat-based diet. It has omnivorous habits, capable of eating insects, fruits, berries, roots, shoots, and of course does not hesitate to take advantage of a carcass becoming a scavenger. As an opportunistic predator, it eats almost anything it comes across on its path. Thanks to its very keen sight and smell, it can easily locate hares, mice insects, or fresh fruit. Since a large part of its diet consists of small rodents, the red fox is an expert at hunting them. Stalking cautiously, it uses the cover of the terrain to ensure the element of surprise. With an unsuspecting rodent in its sights, the fox leaps into the air and lands on its prey with its front paws, a technique known as the mousing pounce. Even extremely agile prey like hares cannot escape the lethal bite of this predator, as it can run at high speeds for short distances. But not all of a red fox's life is about hunting. With a full stomach, it can relax, spending much of the day resting in comfortable dens or among dense thickets. Speaking of the fierce ghosts of the mountains, sometimes the red fox has to witness the food chain turning against it. This is when ruthless predators like the snow leopard, the black bear, and the Himalayan wolf come into play. Of course, for these carnivores to get their fearsome claws and jaws on the fox, they first have to find it. Its extremely elusive behavior is one of its survival measures. Moving with extreme caution through the vegetation, the fox goes completely unnoticed. If discovered, it will not try to prove its courage. Instead, when directly threatened, it relies on its enviable agility to make a swift escape through the forest at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. While the cunning red fox hides in its den up to an altitude of 23,000 feet, a majestic bird of prey is accustomed to seeing things from above. With a wingspan of over 10 feet and weighing up to 18 pounds, the bearded vulture becomes a true giant of the mountain. Living on desolate cliffs at the most extreme altitudes, this bird of prey is perhaps one of the highest dwelling wild species on the entire planet. Its striking plumage, dark grey and blackish blue on the back, and wings and cream to dark orange on the underside, makes this bird stand out against a horizon of barren rock. Its behavior of living thousands of feet high is explained by its very particular dietary habits. It is not for nothing that this majestic bird is known as the bone breaker. Soaring from impressive heights with the help of its very sharp vision, it carefully scans the ground in search of the remains of a carcass, a victim of Everest's tumultuous wildlife. When it locates a carcass, the bearded vulture immediately descends. Upon landing, it discovers that what was once a large hoofed animal is now just a few bones. Which is exactly what it needs to satisfy its hunger. The bird, without hesitation, picks up a bone with its beak or talons and takes to the air again. Flying to a height of about 165 feet, the bearded vulture, true to its name, drops the bone. In just a few seconds upon impact with the sharp rocks, it shatters into small pieces. Immediately, just seconds later, the bird lands at the point of impact, where it devours the bone fragments. Thanks to a specialized digestive system with a highly acidic stomach, it can digest bones with astonishing ease. Although bones make up to 90% of its diet when it swallows them, the bearded vulture is really only interested in consuming the nutritious marrow inside. When it finds substantial remains of a carcass, this master of the skies repeats the process countless times until it satisfies its enormous appetite. In a single feeding, a bearded vulture can consume up to 2.2 pounds of food. Sometimes, when the carcass contains smaller bones, it will skip the step of carrying the food aloft and will swallow the bones without crushing them. After enjoying a not-so-light meal, the vulture returns to its high-altitude home, where it spends a considerable amount of time resting on ledges and cliffs. Although it lives thousands of feet high, the bearded vulture has no natural enemies, but the greatest threat to its survival is the influence of man. The use of poisoned baits by local herders is causing serious damage to the bearded vulture population. They accidentally fall into these traps and suffer a painful death. The red panda is another wild inhabitant of the Everest slopes that is seriously threatened by human interference. Habitat loss due to deforestation is progressively devastating the lowland forests of this high-altitude ecosystem. Not even the almighty snow leopard escapes the consequences of human activities in its harsh habitat. This glorious feline, now classified as a vulnerable species, is seriously threatened by dangers such as increasing poaching. For the giant wild yak, the story is similar. The threat of hybridization with domestic yaks, as well as illegal hunting and competition for food with livestock, makes the survival of this species a challenge. Not even the indomitable wolf packs are safe from a bleak future. Due to poaching and frequent conflicts with herders, these canids now face an uncertain future. Their numbers have been reduced to no more than 400 individuals, placing the species in critical danger. But not all is lost. Currently, conservation programs for this canid are underway, focusing on captive breeding as well as the legal protection of the species. From the giant yaks to the solitary snow leopards to the tiny pikas, the wildlife of Everest today faces multiple challenges from our intrusion. For millennia, these extraordinary creatures have endured all the hardship that this frozen world could throw at them. But now they face a new test, one that comes not from the unforgiving slopes, but from the world below. The future of this wild kingdom is no longer written in ice and snow, but is being decided by the choices we make.
Today, we will follow a royal lion family on an exciting journey through the wild. Have you ever wondered why lions, even though they are kings of the jungle, need to be on guard? Although the Lion King may not be in a playful mood today, his job is to protect his family from threats around him. Sounds serious, right? But don't worry, life out there is still full of interesting things that we will discover right now. Surely, under this scorching sun, no one wants to be too active. And while the lion father is watching over everything, the lion mother is sharing with us some very interesting things. We see that when the lion cubs start to grow up, they will join their mother and father in hunting. However, before becoming a real hunter, the cubs have to learn many important skills, from stalking prey to capturing large animals. Do you think a lion cub can learn these skills quickly? In fact, it will take time, and around 6 to 8 months of age is when the lion cubs start to go out into the world with their first meals other than their mother's milk. Here's an interesting fact. No matter how strong you think you are as a lion cub, during this period, you still need absolute care from your mother. They will gradually disappear as they grow up, but during this period, those spots help them camouflage in the grass, avoiding detection by predators. And you know, some species like hyenas can take advantage of the weakness of their cubs to cause danger. That's why lion mothers always have to be careful and protect them. That's right. Lion cubs not only learn how to hunt, but they also learn how to explore the world around them. Their curious look and love of exploration not only help develop their cognitive abilities, but also strengthen their physical strength. But don't forget, sometimes being alert and careful is extremely important, especially when you are living in this challenging wild environment. And when the lion cubs grow up, you can see that even though they sometimes appear stubborn and want freedom, they still need the guidance of their mother, who always follows and protects them. That's exactly what the lion mother did for them. We can see that in the wild, every animal, whether it is a king or a weak baby, must learn how to survive and grow up. Similar to us, in life, every step we take needs support, guidance, and sometimes protection from loved ones. And now, let's continue to explore this wild world, where every day is a new adventure.
Yeah.